In the name of Allah Almighty, the most gracious and the most merciful. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope each instance of your life goes well. I think everybody knows me that who am I. There is no need to introduce myself. Due to the decision of BBA department, after this I will teach you sociology, and you have already studied a few chapters of sociology. The part which has already been assigned by BBA department, they told me to teach is culture. And you have already, as I mentioned before, you have already studied. It will be better to start today's lesson from culture. This term culture, or we can say Indari kultur, Indari farhang and Pashto kultur ya culture. Everybody knows that culture the represents the importance, or we can say values of society. Before to go through culture with more details, if you look towards this picture, you know this type of behavior we can say attend, which is part of, we can say, happiness. Most of the people, while they have happiness, or while there is wedding ceremony or any other happiness, they invite a team, or we can say they themselves, we can say, come in, attend themselves. This behavior, or atan, a social dance, or we can say Afghani dance or atan. This is the culture. It represents the, we can say, values of a social group. یعنی کلچری یا فرهنگ چی است؟ کلچر یا فرهنگ بخشی از چی است؟ یعنی بخش یا نمایندگی یک سوشال گروپ میکنه. فرهنگ نمایندگی یک گروه میکنه، یعنی نمایانگر یک ارزش یک گروه هست یا یک سوشال گروپ هست. طور مثال اینو میبینین اتن. Atan, as I mentioned before, it illustrates, we can say, the values of a spatial group, or we can say social group. What's culture? No human society can exist and develop without its culture. The main difference between the animal and human societies is of culture. Sociologists are keenly interested in the study of culture because study of human society is incomplete without it. خب کالچر یا فرهنگ طوری که اشاره شد، یعنی بخشی از یک سوشال گروپ است یا از یک جامعه است. یعنی هیچ جامعه بدون کلچر یا بدون فرهنگ نیست، یعنی یک فرهنگ خاص داره. Inshallah, we will go through with more details in the upcoming slides as well. Culture has been defined by these three persons. Taylor says that culture is the complex whole, which includes knowledge, belief, art, morals, law, custom, and any other capabilities and habits acquired by man as a member of society. It is a complex whole. Culture is knowledge, culture is belief, culture is art, culture is ethics or morals, culture is law, culture is custom, culture is tradition, which is acquired by a human being from his or her society. Culture is a part of society. طور مثال بعض اوقات که مردم قار میشه، میگه بسیار بی فرهنگ مردم است، نمیفهم در کجا زندگی کرده. انشالله در چپترهای بعدی میایه. Society, we will define, society. While people gather together and we can say live as a group. It is society, and they exchange their views, they learn from each other. uh, Dumtius John Beatty Chimega. Culture is the way of life which is transmitted from generation to generation. Culture is the lifestyle. Culture is the path of life which is transmitted, which is conveyed from generation to generation. One culture, one generation convey his or her its culture to the other generation. For example, we learned some of our culture. For example, wedding culture. If you think deeply, we have already been copied, or we have already been gained wedding culture. Still, we celebrate our wedding ceremony like our ancestors, but some of the things are different. بعضی چیزا متفاوت است. فرض مثال در قدیم، فرض مثال برای فرض مثال در جای دوردست، هنگامی که عروس خانه داماد می آورد، شتر یا اسب چیزا را استفاده میکرد. حالا اگر ببینین موتر است، درست است. بعضی چیزا یعنی چی شده. But we have the same culture, we have the same, we can say, rules and regulations which were being used previously. Word Chimiga, culture is symbolic, your representative, cumulative, your growing in progress process. Culture is symbolic یا representative. culture کس یعنی نمایندگی یک جنریشن میکنه و culture is growing in progress process و در حال چی است؟ در حال نموس که نمایندگی یک جامعه را میکنه. So what is cultural context? Cultural context is said to be a custom or norms of a society, the characters living and at how their culture affect their behavior and their opportunities. یعنی کالچر که از کستوم و یا نورمز در یک جامعه ما میتونیم بگوییم که اونجا یعنی مردم زندگی میکنه و امی کالچر است که یعنی سر بیهیویر آنها it can affect their behavior, their way of life, their opportunities. The cultural context is a place where human communication occurs. Context aslan چی معنی میته؟ community, society. What is cultural context? It is a place where human communication occurs. It is a place where human creates relationships with each other. It is a place where human interact with each other. It perhaps has the most important influence on human interaction. Cultural context has influence, impact, effect on human interaction. یعنی cultural context که است بالای interaction یا communication مردم چی داره یا انسان یعنی تاثیر داره، حتما سرش تاثیر میکنه، متاثر میشه از امو custom یا norms که دمو context هست. According to Edward T. Hall, Anonymous, culture provides the overall framework where or in which humans learn to organize their thought, emotion, and behavior in relation to the environment. چقدر خوب. یعنی whenever someone is living in a place, he or she organized his thoughts, his emotions, his behavior in relation to their environment. یعنی همه چیزا، عادات، رسوم، هر چیزی که باشه اونجا چی میکنه؟ یعنی از اون میگیره. طور مثال افغان هایی که در خارج است، افغان هایی که طور مثال در کشورهای همسایه هست، شاید بیهیویر افغان هایی که در کشورهای چی است یعنی بیهیویرش با افغان هایی که در داخل افغانستان است فرق داره. یعنی امو به اصطلاح ایموشنش فرق داره، تاتش فرق داره، بیهیویرش فرق داره. Culture is learned. Culture teaches on how to think, conditions, and how to feel, and instruct on how to act, especially how to interact with others. طور مثال راجع به کلچر یک چی بود، صحابی بود، حالا از یادم رفته که کدام صحابی بود. یک جای رفته بودن که مردم یعنی یک بیهیویر داشت. هنگامی که آمد و نمو بیهیویر چون یاد گرفته بود و unconsciously یا ناخودآگاه یا unintentionally، هنگامی که پس آمد باز یعنی اون نمو بیهیویر این جمع انجام میداد، باز گفتن دیگرا برش که باید اقسم بیهیویر اینجا انجام نته و خودش گفت که مردم اونجا ای بیهیویر داشت. یعنی ای بیهیویر چی بود؟ یعنی از امو سوسایتی، از امو کانتکستی بیهیویر از آن خود کرده بود. culture in society، جامعه و فرهنگ. You know, these two have close relationships with each other. We previously discussed about culture. Inshallah, we will go through society as well. Previously, we pointed out that culture, we defined culture from the perspective of three persons, as you see. As it has already been focused, here we just rely on a single definition. Culture is the way of life which is transmitted from generation to generation. پیشترم ما شما تعریف کردیم خوی به خاطری که یک بار باز to enable you to create this part, we can say to connect this part with the previous one, it will be better to define culture. خب characteristics of culture، خصوصیات فرهنگ چی است؟ اول culture is learned. culture یا کلتور یا فرهنگ یاد گرفته میشه. Most of the behavior is learned in society. This learning might be conscious or unconscious, but nobody can deny the processes of learning. The informality of culture in a society is a clear example. Mostly the same pattern of culture prevail among the members of society. Culture is something learned and acquired, like wearing clothes and dancing. It's not something natural to the person. You know, one of the characteristics, one of the characters, one of the specifications of culture is that culture is learned. It might be conscious or we can say unconscious. Yani intentionally or unintentionally. یعنی میتونین intentionally یاد بگیرین یا میتونین unintentionally یاد بگیرین. یعنی کس توسط human being، it can be learned by human being. It is acquired from the society. Whatever you see in the society, whatever you face in the society, you can learn it intentionally or unintentionally. This is one of the characteristics of culture, that culture is learned consciously or unconsciously. The second one is social concept. Culture is an individual concept, but on the other hand, it is a social concept because it is not only relates to individual behavior, but concerned with a group behavior. Culture is social concept. It means it does not have any relationship with a single person. It is not, we can say, creation, or it is not, we can say, establishment of a single person, but it relates to the behavior of a group, or we can say a group of people. The culture is actually shared. You know, culture is shared. All the traits or characteristics, all the traits, attitudes, idea, knowledge, and material objects like radio, television, and automobiles are actually shared by members of society. Culture is shared. Let me give you an example. Whenever foreigners, they want to go to the other countries, for example, while Americans, they want to come to our country, you know, they learn some of them they're interested to learn about our culture. یعنی راجع به فرهنگ ما یاد میگیره. اگرچه مردم به فرهنگ ما احترام ندارن قدر بدبخت مردم است. و هنگامی که کشورهای دیگه میره راجع به فرهنگ و یاد میگیره، به خاطر یک موضوع یاد میگیره. فرض مثال هنگامی که زنا میبره واره میگه چادر باید بپوشین، اگرچه یا خب به فرهنگ ما احترام نداره. بر صورت you know, it is land, ideas, attitudes, knowledge, material, everything. It is shared. They're shared with each other. However, every member of society may not share these material and non-material objects equally. For instance, every person is not possessing radio, automobile, which are found in a culture. یعنی بعضی چیزا شیر نمیشه. فرض مثال بعضی چیزا شیر میشه، بیشتر چیزا شیر میشه، ولی بیشتر چیزا که فرض مثال همه مردم they do not access to these non-material objects, they're not able to, we can say, share their culture. دیگه چی است؟ culture is transmitted. Culture is transmitted from generation to generation. Culture is conveyed. All the culture traits, characters and characteristics and objects are transmitted among the members of society continually. Culture, we can say, culture traits, characteristics of culture, they are transmitted, they are conveyed from generation to generation continually. For example, whenever one generation passes away, or we can say passes away, the legacy is remained. یعنی میراثش میمانه و چیزایی که میمانه. The values are left and the other generation follow these values. یعنی جنریشن دیگه انمی values چیزایی که میمانه وره فالو میکنه. از خاطر از این میتونیم بگوییم که culture is transmitted. culture یا فرهنگ است انتقال میشه from generation to generation. For example, our ancestors, they were, for example, wearing turbans, or we can say wearing traditional clothes. Still we follow them. We can say wear, we can say put turbans or wear turbans, wear the same clothes as our ancestors were wearing. یعنی چیزایی که ancestors یا اجداد ما، پدرکلان نیاکان ما انجام میدادن اونمو کار را پس ما میکنیم. یعنی ای continually occurs میشه یا جاری است. اگر فرض مثال ما پسوی شویم از این دنیا، اگر طور مثال ما بریم کلچر یعنی جنریشنی که از ما میمانه و همو راه و روش و رسم و رواج و کلتور و فرهنگ ما را تعقیب میکنه. Most of the culture traits and material objects are transmitted to the members of the society from their forefather. Learning and transmission takes place both from the contemporaries and older generation. From our contemporaries, for instance, we learn new fashion in society and how to behave in a particular social situation. Whatever I told you before, we have some legacies from our, we can say, ancestors, from our grandfathers, from our great-grandfathers, and so on. Still we follow them, still we benefit from them. The generation which comes after us, they also will follow, we can say it also will follow whatever we do right now. یعنی جنریشنی که بعد از ما میه، چیزی که ما میکنیم یا چیزی که ما انجام میتیم اونمو رو تعقیب میکنه، اونمو رو تقلید میکنه، اونمو رو امیتیت میکنه. از خاطر از این میتونیم بگوییم که culture is transmitted. یعنی فرهنگ چیست؟ transmit انتقال میشه یا convey میشه. Culture is ever changing. Culture never remains static, but changing. It changes in every society, but with different speed and cause. It constantly undergoes change and adapts itself to the environment. یک چیزی هست که ما شما به چشم خدا میبینیم, especially in our society. فرض مثال میبینین که آل بیشتر چیزای ما تبدیل شده. امو فرهنگی که از اجداد و پدرکلان ها و نیاکان ما بود آیسته آیسته خونه خوب به سرعت برتان میگم. Let me give you an example. For instance, nowadays our we can see clothes, they are gradually changing. Gradually خونه خور rapidly changing. Our clothes are changing. Our way of life is changing. Our wedding costume is changing. Our, we can say, everything is changing very rapidly. بسیار باتیزی. Very very rapidly. بسیار باتیزی. Any culture is ever changing. Nowadays we can say foreign cultures, or we can say Western cultures, they affect our cultures, and we are rapidly imitating their cultures, and our valuable culture, we can say, gradually passes away يعني از بین میره. بر صورت خیر. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us on right path. خب this was today's lesson بود درس امروزی ما و شما. If you have any question, do not hesitate to ask me. Thank you. Have a nice time.